Well, welcome back. Without a doubt, tax reform, jobs shaping up to be one of the biggest issues of the 2016 presidential campaign. But which Republican candidate has the best plan for the American people, given the current state of the economy? We're going to bring in Art Laffer. He's a leading economist and founder and chairman of Laffer Associates. He's the former member of President Reagan's Economic Policy Advisory Board. And Art, is always wonderful to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria. Weren't those two interviews just amazing? I mean, you got Marco Rubio and Carly Fiorina. I mean, they are unbelievably high quality. This candidate group is incredible.
Yeah, there's a real distinguishable, difference when you look at each candidate and their economic plan. I want to first begin this interview with this question from one of our viewers, and he's on Twitter this morning. He's always a soldier is his handle on Twitter, and he says, okay, what constitutes a good tax policy? That's my first question for you, Art.
The best tax policy is you want the lowest possible tax rate on the broadest possible tax base, because you want to provide the least incentives to evade, avoid, or otherwise not report taxable income. And you want the least places to where people can place their income and not have to pay taxes. That's the key to economic growth and prosperity through the tax codes.
Because the point is we want to create economic growth and leading to jobs. Let me ask you, we heard from Carly Fiorina this morning and Marco Rubio. I want to ask you about their plans or lack of plans on the economy and taxes in a moment. But first, let's talk Ted Cruz for a moment, because I know that he reached out to you. You advised him. He's calling for 10% income tax for individuals and 16% business tax. What else is important about his tax plan that we need to understand?
Well, I think those are the two most important features of his tax plan. I mean, the rest of it is what deductions or credits you have in there. I mean, those are really minor plays. The broad-based play is he has two low-rate, broad-based flat taxes, which are excellent and very pro-growth and very pro-prosperity. You know, all taxes are bad, Maria. All of them are bad. Some are worse than others. What you want to make sure is you tax people in the least damaging fashion. We tax people who speed to get them to stop speeding. We tax cigarettes to get people to stop smoking. Why do we tax people's incomes, employment, and profits? Not to get them to stop earning income or paying people or hiring people, purely and simply because we've got to get the money. And we want to get the money in the least damaging fashion, and Cruz is exceptionally good in this regard.
But can he cut taxes without blowing up the deficit and debt? I mean, when you look at all the plans across the board, we're talking about a cost of between $2 trillion and $12 trillion, depending on whose tax plan you look at. Can we afford to lower taxes this much?
Well, I don't think he's lowering taxes that much, to be honest with you. I mean, the credits and some of the deductions maybe hit the revenue side, but 16% and 10% are reasonable numbers to tax a broad base of, let's say, something in the order of $13 trillion. If you look at that size of a base, which is total income or total net business sales, those two bases with 16% and 10%, you should be able to live on that revenue.
Does Carly have a tax plan? She says, look, it doesn't matter if you write it down. Anybody could write it down. It's really about your policies. And I don't know, is that going to fly? And what about Trump? Compare Carly Fiorina and Trump on their economic plans.
Well, Carly's plan is less specific, but she understands the taxes more than anyone. I mean, she's really very, very good on taxation. She knows you got to lower the rates and broaden the base. And Donald Trump is the same way. I mean, his corporate tax, his personal income tax, they're all really very, very good. And what Donald Trump told me personally is, if you got a better idea, tell me and I'll change my plan. That's exactly the way a politician should be. You know, they shouldn't have to come up with every great idea. They should be able to modify their plans when new ideas comes along. And I think all of these candidates are willing to do that. Rand Paul changed his plan dramatically in a very pro-growth fashion. I mean, I've got to take my hat off to Rand Paul for doing that. And so did Ted Cruz.
Yeah, he's got a 14.5% flat tax.
It's great.
Rand Paul. Well, does Ben Carson have a plan? He's been really vague about this.
Well, he's following the old Reagan motto: is no specificity. Don't do that until you get into office, because you're going to have to deal with the Senate Finance and House Ways and Means and senators and secretaries of the Treasury and all that. The less specific your plan, the better off you are, because you paint the principles. In this regard, Ben Carson has done a fantastic job. 10% sort of flat tax. It's the fairest tax. He's completely correct on that. He says it might have to be higher, as high as 15%. But what he's saying on this, no loopholes, no deductions, no exemptions, that's the exact right way to go to create this economic growth we need.
Yeah. And real quick on Hillary Clinton, she wants to double capital gains taxes.
She ain't no Bill Clinton. Let me just tell you that, as we say here in Nashville, Tennessee. Bill Clinton was a great president. I voted for him twice, Maria, and I thought he was a great president. I thought he cut taxes dramatically, balanced the budget, created growth. Hillary is not Bill Clinton, and unfortunately, it's just not her day. She's a brilliant, wonderful person, and she's very experienced, but this is not her time.
Art, thanks so much. Great analysis, as always. We'll see you soon, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
Art Laffer.
Good luck on Tuesday.
I'll see you on Tuesday for sure at the debate in Milwaukee.